Hi there, my name is Brittany Lord, and I'm the facilitator and a member of the Remembering Our Babies counseling group. Thank you so much for tuning into this video. Please take a look at the other videos that we've been able to post on the first of every month, detailing some different ways that we can join you on your grief journey and hopefully help cope with the many effects of the grief experience. If you're tuning in to this channel, you probably have experienced the pain that we've experienced. If you've lost a child due to infant death, miscarriage, or struggle with the severe and difficult pain of infertility, this is a group that nobody wants to be a part of, no club that anyone wants to be a part of, but an experience that's very unique when we're in it. So we're so excited with our group in 2023 to be able to come alongside members of our community and members of in our local area and in our world who've experienced this difficult pain. But we're doing that 3 ways this year and from now on. The first one is coming up in November, and we will have a walk to remember where we get to take the steps that our babies never got to take. So at this event, and more details will be coming this next month, we will have food trucks, different vendors, a raffle, a walk, and at the end, a candle lighting ceremony where we get to honor our babies taken too soon or who we never got to experience in this world. So more details to come again from that. So also, one thing that we're offering now in 2023 are these series of videos detailing some different ways that you can cope with the physical, emotional, spiritual, mental health effects of grief. And so we're so excited to bring you that information today. In just a moment, I'm going to be talking about some different ways that we can cope and process some of those effects of grief. The third way that we're so excited about offering some help to this community is through individual counseling sessions. As I mentioned before, my name is Brittany Lord. I am an LPC, which is licensed professional counselor with a mental health service provider designation. That means that I'm professionally trained and able to offer not only group but also individual therapy sessions. So this group has come alongside and we fundraise, and we are providing 2 free sessions for anyone that is interested who is a part of this club and has this grief experience that quite frankly no one wants to be a part of, but we understand, we get it, we've been where you are. So please let us know, reach out to us not only on this page, but also on our Facebook page, and we would be happy to give you some more of that information. Now keep in mind, these videos are not meant to diagnose or to treat mental health issues. If you have a mental health emergency or a medical emergency, please stop this video and go to your nearest medical or mental health facility. Or if you need more information about some of the effects of grief, please turn to your nearest mental health provider, because there's so many people in our community that would love to be able to help. So as I mentioned to you before, we're going to be talking about some new ways to cope and to process the physical, mental, emotional, spiritual effects of grief. Last month, I detailed a way to do that by constructing a timeline of your fertility journey. My guess is some of you may have tried that, and I'd be really interested to see what you thought about it. It's not so much in what you put on the timeline, it's more about what the process looks like as you look over the timeline, maybe some different items that showed up together that you thought, I didn't know that may have been related to that. When you do it, you'll be able to see how you can draw some correlations around the things that showed up for you on your timeline, and to be able to make some connections that you might have not otherwise been able to make. Feel free to make one of those timelines, maybe share it with your own counselor, your own mental health provider. So today, some of the things that we'll be talking about would be coping mechanisms for the effects of grief. I think I mentioned to you before the importance of breathing and mindfulness in coping with grief. Now, whether you're coping with grief, anxiety, or depression, any type of mental health issue, breathing techniques, deep diaphragmatic yoga type breathing is so helpful. Feel free to Google some of these techniques. There's tons of them out there with people with, quite honestly, better, less southern sounding voices than mine. They can walk you through some of these. Mindfulness techniques also are a great way to be able to get our mind off of the things that may be going through our minds. There's a time to process and there's a time to sit in that grief. But we all have lives. We may have other children, we have marriages, we have jobs, we have other things to do, hobbies that we can't always sit in our grief. And so maybe we need a coping mechanism, as we mentioned before, to help us get through it and to be able to move on with our day. One such coping mechanism that is included in mindfulness practices is a 5 senses technique. So for example, if you're looking around your room and I can look around mine, I can notice 5 things that I can see. I can notice the color of the ceiling. I can notice the color of the wall. I can maybe notice the texture of something sitting on my desk. I can notice the color of the carpet, maybe of threading in the floor. And maybe I can notice the shine that the light gives on the windowsill in front of me. I can also notice 4 things that I can feel. I can feel the air of the fan or the air conditioner blowing. I can feel my feet against the floor. Maybe if you're sitting, you can feel your back against the chair. Or maybe you can feel your hands folded in your lap. You can also notice 3 things that you can hear. Maybe if there's a road beside your house or beside your office, you can hear the hum of cars going by, or maybe a honking horn nearby. Maybe if you have a clock in your office or in your home, then you can notice the tick of the clock. Or maybe notice your stomach grumbling because you forgot to eat lunch today. Maybe you can notice 2 things you can smell. You can smell the air freshener or the candle that's burning. Maybe you can smell the soap that you used this morning. And you can notice 1 thing you can taste. Maybe you can taste the mint that you ate right before you got on this video. There's nothing magical about noticing some of these things, but it's the simple act of getting your brain focused away from maybe the train of thought that you were in, enough to be able to give yourself a bit of a break, a bit of a pause, a bit of a redirect, and then we can better get on with our day. Try that noticing technique of the 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Again, that's 5 things we can see, 4 things we can feel, 3 things we can hear, 2 things we can smell, and 1 thing we can taste. Let me know what you think about it in the comments if you don't mind. Another way that we can be able to process some of the effects of grief is to write down some of our thoughts and feelings. So we've talked about this a little bit before, maybe with journaling. Now, the jury's out on journaling. Some people really like it and some people hate it. But we do know that there's a separate part of our brain. Now, this is a science lesson, and I didn't pay enough attention in science to tell you all the specifics. So if you want to know more information, research further. But we do know that there's a specific extra part of our brain that further processes information when we speak about it or when we write about it. So we do know that. Feel free to research that and find out more information. So one of the ways that we can do that, as I mentioned, is journaling. Just simply taking pen to paper and letting our thoughts and feelings go. I would encourage you with journaling, you don't have to worry about grammar. You don't have to worry about punctuation or spelling. It can be one long run-on sentence. But the point is to be able to let your feelings and your thoughts flow. You'll be surprised. As you're writing, you're going to be thinking, wow, I didn't even know that was in there. There may be things that you're able to process that you may not have normally been able to. Maybe that's something that you can share with someone, share with your own therapist, share with me if you get to come in for one of our 2 sessions. Or maybe you just keep that to yourself. Maybe you pray about it, think about it. Another way to write about our thoughts and feelings is to write a letter to our loss. Now, you can go ahead and just start pen to paper and write free form, write to our loss. Or you can use something like some prompts. If you Google letter to my loss or letter of grief, there'll be some different things that will come up for you. One such template I made myself is I begged, borrowed, and stole from other spots, and I wrote a letter to my loss. Now, I didn't fill out all the prompts on here. As many of you may know, I lost my own son, Brock, 10 years ago this year. He was 23 days old. He would be 10 this year. And so I took a couple of these prompts and I wrote a little bit of information to him. So as I said, Brock Dennison Lord would be 10 years old this year in 2023. He was born May 28th, 2013, and he died June 20th, 2013. So I put on here, Dear Brock, and one of the first prompts is, you meant. I chose not to put anything on there. I did that on purpose so that you would know that it's okay for you to not put something on there. This is yours to use however that you see fit. So in the second prompt, it is, I remember a time when. And I wrote, I remember a time when we were outside in the shade in the garage, and the big boys, I have 2 other sons, were playing water balloons. And you and I sat and watched them play. Our family seemed so complete. The next prompt that I have is, my hopes for us and for you were that you would play right along with your 2 big brothers. Every time I see them wrestle, play, or act silly, there's a thread of sadness that runs through me because there should be 3 boys that are there. I am thankful, though, for my 2 boys that are here, and I look forward to getting to see you again one day, Brock. Some of the other prompts on here, if you wanted to keep filling this out, feel free to message me. I don't mind a bit to email this to you. What I want to say to you but never had the chance or couldn't say then. Thank you for. And my wishes for myself or my family are. Now, I didn't put it on here, but I would sign it, Mom. Now, I'm not going to tell you that this is an easy activity to do. Even as I wrote this, and even 10 years ago, as I think about this and as I talk about it with you, there's a lump that forms in my throat and in my stomach. This is hard. But it is helpful for me and for many other people, and it could be helpful for you to further process maybe some of the information that you wanted so desperately to say. Maybe these things are in your heart and you've stored them there, but maybe it's helpful for you to write those things down and to be able to express that. Now, I specifically made it letter to my loss. I didn't make it letter to my baby or letter to my hope of a baby. If you've maybe lost a child, maybe you've lost a parent, or maybe you've lost a way of life or a job that's particularly difficult for you. Someone doesn't have to die to have a grief experience. Feel free to Google this to look up different letters for a grief experience, or feel free to email me, and I don't mind a bit. Drop it in the comments to send you this. So again, this is not something to tell you what you have to do or tell you how you're supposed to be processing your grief. Some of these ideas of coping mechanisms and ways to process are just simply meant to help. One of our ways that we're coming alongside you all in 2023 and for now and for always to help join you on your grief journey. Do not suffer alone is the only thing that I ask of you. If you need help, please reach out to us or to another provider. We look forward to being there for you. Have a great day.